After spending 4K, I realized, hey, maybe this isn't for me. But if the worst case scenario is I lose everything and I come back and live with my parents, is it really risk then? Maybe realize, hey, no risk, no story. So while you're in your 20s, like me, I'm 22 now. When I was 19, 20, 21, even now I'm still taking big risks. Because at the end of the day, if I want the lifestyle that I want, the number of kids that I want, the house, the assets, the cash flowing businesses, the quality of life, the kids not going to public school, my mom taken care of, I can't do all that without taking enormous risks in my 20s. So that's the question that you kind of have to ask yourself. Today I'm back home in Mulvey Fitness, back in the gym. This was literally like one of my first ventures, as you can see here. I don't even know if you can make that out, but it says Mulvey Fitness, personal training and online coaching. I did this maybe like 3 years ago when I was thinking about getting into business and entrepreneurship, and I'm back home for the weekend because I had two sisters' birthdays. And yeah, I came out here and I started reminiscing because I remember at 19 spending like 4K for like a gym course, and like being a PT after like 3 months. I spent like 2K on filling stuff into this gym. I know it doesn't look like it, it's a bit dirty right now, but all this equipment did set me back a bit of dosh. And I did about 1 or 2 sessions and I realized, hey, one, I want to be able to travel, so like I don't want to do sessions in person. 2, I don't know if I like personal training. So after spending 4K, I realized, hey, maybe this isn't for me. But there's a saying in business which is fail fast. And when you realize, hey, you made a mistake, move on quickly, because otherwise you're just gonna do something for the sake of it. It's the sunken law fallacy, where you put so much money and time into something and you're only continuing it because you've put that time into it. And no matter if it's failing, you don't want to accept the fact that it's failing, and you just keep going with something that just isn't working. So I did not have that happen with me. I had a couple failures, guys, when I was building this out. I really wish I was doing YouTube throughout the whole thing. I remember taking out my camera at the very start and trying to record and be like, shit, I don't know what to talk about. Because I went into building out the gym, spending 4K on that. I tried to build a dropshipping website and got banned after 30 days. Then what else did I do? I tried to trade. Nearly lost like 3K trading. I recovered it, thank God, but yeah, I did a couple of different ventures. I've built a SaaS company, which I've technically sold now. I've built some other businesses, some agencies, and you know, some of them just stopped ultimately. So there's a saying where it says there's a couple L's in millions. So that's the thought process I have. You have to fail, pivot until you find something that works. And I think I found it. This YouTube video is a bit of an update because I spent the last week with family kind of reminiscing of, hey, I used to live out here full-time in Ireland, and it got me thinking, hey, this is why we started Affinity Sales Training, was literally to get people out of this position of living in Ireland where it's super cold. Geez, I've been taking naps the whole time just because of how cold it is out here. And there's no sunlight, and there's not much really going on. I mean, you can do some sport, which is awesome. I got to play some sport when I came back, and it was really fun. But it also reminded me that, hey, I cannot really commit towards a football team right now because I'll not have any time. I'm doing so much traveling, as you guys can see on these vlogs, in Austria, America, Malta, so many different places, and I just can't commit time towards a specific team, but I can commit time towards the business. And that was always the goal. Maybe realize, hey, no risk, no story. So while you're in your 20s, like me, I'm 22 now. When I was 19, 20, 21, even now I'm still taking big risks. Because at the end of the day, if I want the lifestyle that I want, the number of kids that I want, the house, the assets, the cash flowing businesses, the quality of life, the kids not going to public school, my mom taken care of, I can't do all that without taking enormous risks in my 20s. So over the last 2 weeks, I've been doing 75-day hard, which is 2 workouts a day, 4 liters of water a day, sticking to a meal plan, reading 10 minutes a day, meditating. I do a mock call with one of the boys as well, Valentine, shout out Valentine. The goal with that is just discipline. Because if you look at the word doubt, for exambt, D-O-U-B-T, the way you can remove doubt within any business venture is by cutting out the U-N-C and just do it. And it seems old-fashioned, it seems like a cliche, but it's the truth. Like if you hold off something for so long, that's where the stress is really coming from. Like I'm feeling it now. Like I've put off a couple of things for the weekend while I was here with the family. I'm doing it this morning. Boy, so the question is like, what legacy do you want to hold for yourself? What do you want to be remembered for? Like right now I'm watching and listening to and reading Marcus Aurelius' meditations. And what he talks about is a man who is not able to make a mark on the world is a man who never technically existed. Because what are you remembered for? Now, sure, I'm sure you're gonna be remembered by a couple of different people. And we all know that most generations after about 2 or 3 are completely forgotten about. They don't even remember your names. So like if you don't leave a mark on the world, technically you just didn't really exist. So while you're here, why not try to leave a mark? So although myself, Josh, David are building out our businesses, I feel like Affinity is that business for me. It's my way of giving back. Because I'm able to close deals, I'm able to communicate, I'm able to build a team, I'm able to build culture, I'm able to build momentum, all of which a lot of people struggle with, and I'm able to show to other people for pretty cheap. I mean, ultimately Christopher Harris is in the program as well, and people pay $70K a year to go to Harvard, and he trains us every Thursday. He trains all the guys in there every Thursday. So I think it's our way of giving back, showing people how do you put a plan together, where are you, where do you want to be, most importantly, why do you want to be there? Because one of my mentors always says, if you don't know why you want to get to a certain destination, you'll never put the work in. Like you'll never actually understand, like, what does that do for me if I get there? When do you want to be there specifically? How much is it going to cost? How much do you need to be making? So all of which surrounds this idea of risk, quote unquote risk. But if the worst case scenario is I lose everything and I come back and live with my parents, is it really risk then? If I'm able to come back to a shelter, a roof over my head, food, I'm sure I can get a job anywhere in all of the companies up in Dublin. Is that really a risk? And it's a question that you kind of have to ask yourself. It's like, hey, am I okay with making less for a certain period of time to make more, take 1 step back to take 2 steps forward? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And I think the overarching theme of this YouTube video is like questions that you need to be constantly asking yourself. Because remember, like 30% of people can't even think for themselves. They don't have like inner dialogue. So you can't have a conversation with yourself. There's plenty of articles out there of women who thought they were going crazy because they were talking to themselves and they didn't realize that was just sometimes a natural part of puberty. Sometimes people get that really late in life, maybe like 15, 16, 17, sometimes 18. And for those of you that are watching and you don't know what I'm talking about when I say inner dialogue, maybe you're part of the 30%. But these are good questions you need to ask yourself. Like, if I don't put a risk out now in my 20s, what am I going to be remembered for? Is that going to be passed down to my kids? And my kids also going to be like, hey, my family doesn't take risks, so I'm not going to take risks. I'm not going to make a name for myself. I'm not going to spread the second name. Like the Mulvey second name, for example, right? Literally means honorable chieftain, a leader within the pack. So like, I'm nearly disrespecting my own second name by not living up to it. So like a couple of questions, as I said, you need to ask yourself is it an actual risk? Can I do it? When should I do it? Why should I do it? What does it do for me? And for you, is it actually important? Because if it's not important, you're not going to do it. And I feel like that specific question, those string of questions, are the exact reason I'm able to live in Milan, build businesses, travel. It's because I just took that first step. And there's no difference between me and yourselves probably watching from 3 years ago, 2 years ago, where I was literally like, hey, do I want to start door-to-door sales? Do I want to learn how to do sales? So if you can, and if you've little to no responsibilities, I'd highly recommend, hey, question yourself on these couple topics, these couple of questions, highlight it, literally write it down on your page and think, hey, what's worse? Being in the exact same position 6 to 12 months from now, or at least trying. The goal of these YouTube videos is just kind of to update you guys as I'm going along in this journey and question you while I question myself. For example, as I said, I'm going through meditations right now, and a lot of what he talks about is just like living in the moment, making sure that you're there and you're not just kind of coasting by, because I feel like most people in this life are just in a spiral of coasting and coasting and coasting. They don't even make decisions for themselves. That's the question you need to ask yourself in this video. Am I okay with being in the same position come 12 months from now? Or am I okay with the thought of, hey, at least I tried? Apart from that, guys, stay blessed, stay true to yourself, and create your own reality.